LA's World War. I'm Rebecca Lieb,
I'm Jason Horton.
and this is Ghost Town.
Anti-aircraft guns went into action against unidentified aircraft in the Los Angeles area shortly after 3 a.m. Pacific War Time this morning. The anti-aircraft guns began barking during a blackout ordered by the 4th Interceptor Command at 2:25 a.m. The unidentified object, which some sources thought might be a blimp, moved slowly down the Pacific coast from Santa Monica and disappeared south of Long Beach. Army officials declined to comment on the possibility that the object might have been a blimp. However, it required nearly 30 minutes to travel some 25 miles, far slower than an airplane. Watchers on the rooftop of the Columbia Broadcasting Building in the heart of Hollywood could plainly see the flashes of guns and searchlights sweeping the skies in a wide arc along the coastal area.
In February 1942, Los Angeles was under attack
Oh boy.
by Los Angeles.
What?
Yeah. So when
LA v. LA. Who will come out victorious? LA.
No, not LA. It did not come out victorious. This was an epitome of fail. I mean,
Yeah, this is a mighty fail.
we love Los Angeles.
We do.
We love it.
We love it. If anyone loves it, we love it.
But this was not this wasn't a great moment for the United States as a whole. And definitely not for Los Angeles. But, we talk about, there wasn't, during the World Wars, there was never fought on U.S. soil. Yet, bomb shelters existed and, the threat of nuclear war. And,
Sure.
But in February 1942, right in dead center of World War II, there was a very short battle
Yes.
in Los Angeles with the armed forces against essentially themselves.
Yeah, it's a dark point in American history, and a pretty shameful one.
Yeah, and you'll find out the repercussions were if there were no repercussions, if there was no
repros, no problem.
no real collateral damage, I'd be like, you know what?
Okay, idiots.
Some of this is a little understandable. I get a little bit of it because there is a lot of panic and you don't know. Like we're sitting here talking, we have the hindsight,
luxury of
the
saying, hindsight.
Listen, nothing happened.
Yeah.
We were not bombed by the Japanese. We weren't invaded by Germany. Everything turned out great forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
But to the people living, there was a real threat and
panic.
a real panic, and I get that, and I don't want to make light of that. It's understandable, and I'd probably be,
Yeah, if we were there, we'd be the first people to freak the fuck out.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'd be like, "Can I hang out in your bomb shelter?" And you're like,
"Get the fuck out."
Mine's being worked clean. You know what I mean? Like mine's like.
I'd be like, "Is this garbage can a bomb shelter?" Be like, "Should I hide in a fridge like in Indiana Jones in the Temple of Crystal Skull?"
And I'll be like, "What is that?"
And you're like, "That doesn't even make sense. We're not even. That's beyond our time. It's a horrible movie of ages forward."
Yeah. And I'll be like, "That's what you're doing with the time machine? You're just going to see Indiana Jones movies?" You're like,
just the Crystal Skull.
I was like, "Why'd you skip?
Awful.
You skipped the good ones?"
No, I got to see just that one. Excuse me.
So, following the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941, a Japanese submarine, now this is sort of understandable, surfaced and shelled oil installations just north of Santa Barbara on February 23rd. So they were kind of dumping... Japanese made it to U.S. soil. That's scary.
That is scary.
I get it. I get it. And the U.S. was on, high alert.
Yeah.
On the evening of February 24th, 1942, the city's air raid warning announced the approach of hostile aircraft, which they're probably not used to hearing.
No.
It exists.
I mean, again, these are very alarming things to experience.
Naval intelligence instructed units on the California coast to brace themselves for potential Japanese attack. Shortly after 2 a.m. on February 25th, military radar picked up what appeared to be an enemy 120 miles west of Los Angeles. Air raid sirens sounded, and a citywide blackout was put into effect. Scary.
Yeah.
Within minutes, troops had manned anti-aircraft guns and began sweeping the skies with searchlights. About an hour later, the shooting started.
Yeah. Bumbling in the darkness.
Following reports of an unidentified object
Oh,
in the
God,
skies,
yeah.
troops in Santa Monica, this is weird to say, right?
Troops in Santa Monica, yeah. I say a lot of things in Santa Monica. I say sandwiches in Santa Monica. I say the pier in Santa Monica. Troops in Santa Monica, no. Unless it's Girl Scout troops, which it isn't.
It is not, no, I checked. Unleashed a barrage of anti-aircraft and 50 caliber machine gun fire. Before long, many of the city's other coastal defense weapons had joined in. Gun crews at army posts along the coastline fired 1,433 rounds.
Wow.
At nothing.
Wow.
At
Into the night.
nothing.
Jesus.
Of course, there was total panic. There was a claim that a Japanese plane crash landed in the streets of Hollywood.
All right.
I'm surprised there hasn't been a alternate future version of this.
Yeah.
where
A la the Man in High Castle.
Something
where
like
it's
that, yeah.
The Japanese have taken over downtown Hollywood, have taken over the Oriental Theater.
Yeah,
Or
that's
Chinese
the
Theater,
theater, yeah.
sorry. That's the Oriental one is in Milwaukee. That makes no sense. Carry on.
You really want to work. You're like, guys, can we work Milwaukee in there? Like, that is not interesting, and it doesn't have anything to do with the
Back
original
to
story.
the Crystal Skull, everybody.
The next day, when the Secretary of Navy said there had been no air raid, no enemy planes, it was just a case of the jitters.
I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine being explained that?
Yeah, that there was just...
This also kind of, as you're talking, reminds me of after 9/11. And I didn't live in Los Angeles at the time, but my uncle worked in the Disney lot, and everyone at the Disney lot was like on high alert that they were going to be bombed.
They really thought very highly.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, well, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's also like this trigger happy. Like I can see something like that happening at that point at like Disney or where it's just like, we saw a thing, go, you know, like it's very like, holy shit, like idiots.
So obviously people were embarrassed and outraged. The army was accusing of shooting up an empty sky. Authorities arrested 20 Japanese Americans for allegedly trying to signal a non-existent aircraft. Yeah.
No. Oh my God. And also the history of Asian
internment
Americans.
camps and, yeah.
Well, yeah, but also specifically in California, Asian immigrants here have been given just the worst fucking deal. So like where they're like, quick, get some Japanese people to pin this on. Awful.
Yeah, you were signaling this aircraft that did not exist that we were shooting at.
Yeah. And then just a bunch of people get taken in.
The Japanese military later claimed they had never flown an aircraft over the city during World War II.
Why would they? One aircraft over Hollywood.
And of course, and the picture, there's a pretty famous picture of what this scenario was. And it's basically just searchlights in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks, people claim that's like it was a UFO. So if you're if you're a
Conspiracy
UFO, yeah, or if you're
theorist?
into UFOs, 1940s,
Yeah.
a little right, couple of years past War of the Worlds,
Oh, yeah. Give us your hot take.
that would be, and you looked at that picture, you'd be like, sure, that's what that is. The most logical explanation is that trigger-happy servicemen and rudimentary radar systems combined to produce a false alarm.
Yeah, no shit.
In 1983, the Office of Air Force History outlined the events of the LA air raid and noticed the meteorological balloons that had been released prior to the barrage to help determine wind conditions. So it was like a weather balloon.
Yeah.
And I feel like, people
course.
say, oh, yeah, sure, everything's a weather balloon, but
No, in this case, it's also like, why do you think weather balloons exist? They exist to be in the sky and monitor the weather. Like, okay.
their lights in silver color would have been triggered the alerts.
Can we make them different colors? Is this a reform that, like, can we make weather balloons not look like UFOs?
I say to make it the color of a pride flag. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're very brave.
I'm sorry. Am I too progressive for you?
Yeah.
For your sensibilities?
This white man is putting his foot down. You heard it here first.
Once the shooting began, it was disorienting with the searchlights, smoke, anti-aircraft flak, and led gunners to believe they were firing at enemy planes, even though there were none actually present. Mm-hmm. And the photo, which we put on Instagram, which is a Ghost
Sure.
Town Pod, that the LA Times posted it was cited by UFOologists and conspiracy theorists that it was an evidence of an extraterrestrial visitor, and it just shows searchlights focused on what looks like an alien spaceship, but really it's just lighting up the sky. And what the LA Times had to do is they had to modify the photo because the black and white, the contrast, you couldn't really see it, so they're essentially
So they're just
kind of
upping the
blowing it out,
factor.
and it just makes everything look like it
Yeah.
has a glow.
Do you think UFO people and conspiracy theorists are like they look at a picture that could maybe be a UFO and they're like, no, I don't think it is. Is there another
They're like,
theory?
no, not this.
Do they
but
ever reject photos?
but the book that I'm putting out, that's definitely real.
Okay,
That's
I
what
can
you
see
should
that.
buy.
I can see
yeah.
that. I just
or you should go to my
usually-
YouTube channel.
Usually,
and check
like
it out.
this weird Polaroid that has nothing in it is evidence of UFOs.
Like you should go to my patreon.com/ghosttownpod for the bonus episodes of alien stuff.
yeah, they're gonna be blown out though.
Yeah,
they're gonna be nearly indecipherable. Just kidding. They're clear, crisp as hell, and really fun to listen to.
But there were casualties, like I said before.
Mm-hmm.
3 residents were killed in automobile accidents of just people driving, just going haywire.
Awful. Well, I think the scariest thing is that
I'd be
the
scared too.
blackout,
Yeah.
really, where it's like you're in the dark, you're bumbling around. Maybe you hear things, maybe you don't. Like it's fucking terrifying.
2 others died of heart attacks.
Okay.
And there was a lot of collateral property damage. And there was a couple of movies made. The 1979 movie 1941 had loosely based on this, and the 2011 film Battle Los Angeles was also loosely based on the Battle of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Wait, do you guys hear helicopters?
They're coming for us.
Yeah.
They're coming
No.
for us now.
Nah, they're just gonna pass over us.
That's true. We don't care.